Okay, so the United States debt ceiling is a legislative on the amount of national debt that is issued by the U.S. Treasury, which it pretty much limits the amount of money and that the U.S. can borrow from other countries. It is also an aggregate figure, which covers the gross debt, which it includes the public and also the U.S. government, and also this takes account about 0.05% of the total ceiling, which is not that much.
In 2011, we raised the debt ceiling limit spending because we have to look back 11 years before that. In 2001, we had already incurred a lot of military spending due to the war, as well as homeland security. At this time now, in 2011, we had President Barack Obama, and in Congress, the ones who were dominant were Republicans. Ultimately, Congress decides whether to raise or not raise the debt ceiling. We had Republicans, and they took hostage of the debt ceiling so that President Barack Obama would cede with their preferred policies. This did happen because no matter what, the president gets blame for the financial crisis. The president ceded with their preferred policies, and in return, he gained back the debt ceiling raise.
It is thought to believe that many investors will take their money elsewhere, causing the United States to have to raise interest rates to attract buyers again. This would also affect the interest rates on mortgages, student loans, car loans, things of that nature. At this point, the dollar would also be affected, so the banking sector would be affected, as well as much of international trade, since the US dollar is used in international trade.
Failing to raise our debt ceiling would result in America having to pay back all of its loans to all the nations worldwide, meaning less money circulating in our economy as we don't have enough money for the corporations and companies to pay back its workers, meaning less workers available immediately. This would result in less funding for schools, hospitals, and police stations, as well as luxuries such as Medicare, Obamacare, and Social Security. This would result in less luxuries in the future, such as skilled workers, more crime worldwide, and less immediate Medicare available for everybody in the country, meaning less money circulating in the economy.
Hello to my fellow macroeconomics students. My name is Lucas Acerda, and I'm here to explain the pictures for my team's project regarding the U.S. debt ceiling. The first picture is a time graph which begins in 1970 and ends in 2016. The graph is also color-coded to show whether the president's 4-year terms were Republican or Democrat, and it also shows the names of the presidents serving in those 4-year terms. The graph shows that in 1970, after Nixon, the rise had begun very slowly in growth. But then in 2016, nearing Obama's end of the career, the graph shows that now it rises exponentially with a larger amount of debt adding to our debt every year. The second picture shows two animals discussing what should be done first in order to stop the debt ceiling from rising. The horse seems anxious to rise the debt ceiling for purposes that concern the public, for things that we need. And then while the elephant says to lower the floor, which points to lowering federal spending. This picture shows a huge disagreement in our current social area, and the continuing rise of the debt ceiling can destroy our economy and end our credibility as a